Hi, angels. Welcome back to Everybody Hates LA, your go-to source for celebrating the soul of Los Angeles through its hometown heroes and creative visionaries. I'm your host, Francisca, and today we're diving into the music industry. When I first launched this podcast, I promised you that I would never host any celebrities on here. But the thing about promises is that people break them all the time. So if they could do it, so can I. On today's episode, we do have a celebrity with us who is Cody Ash Drums. And you may have seen him on a stage or two, and you may have heard of him being referred to as Pork Chop. That's right. This is the powerhouse drummer behind country sensation Jelly Roll. From his early days playing in metal bands to his life-changing opportunity with Jelly Roll, Cody's story is raw, honest, and full of twists and turns. In today's episode, Cody talks about his incredible journey, his hometown, and how that influenced his path to drumming, as well as some crazy stories on the road. Let's be real. When you're touring with Jelly Roll, you're bound to have some unforgettable moments. Grab a drink, settle in, and get ready to experience the magic of Cody Ash. Tell us about your journey of becoming a drummer. You talked about hey, maybe I didn't have a lot of friends, maybe I didn't have that big community.
Yeah.
Did drumming create that for you?
So I think drumming was really the only thing that gave me even the slightest sense that I felt anyone valued me for growing up. One of my first bands, literally they told me this at one point. So it was in high school, I didn't get invited to parties. I wasn't part of the cool kids. I didn't really fit in. I played sports my whole life. So in high school, I played football and baseball. And so I was, band kids saw me as a jock, but I was in band. And so then the sports, I wore skinny jeans and listened to screamo music or what they would call screamo music. And so they would kind of make fun of me for that and, clown on me for that. And I was super sensitive in high school. So it was I didn't understand the back and forth, you know what I'm saying? And I also wasn't quick with comebacks. So, I wasn't a very popular person with the jocks either. And then so I would go try and fit in with the emo, the emo kids or the kids that listen to heavy music. And they were, they thought I was just a poser and thought that the emo music that I listened to was whack. And I was people would get excited when they would talk about me playing drums. And it's I think that's what kind of made me feel that validation. So I definitely think the drums play a massive role in growing up to where I felt the most cared about or loved, you know what I'm saying?
And seen by people, right? I think Americans are weird anyways, right? I'm from Germany, so I remember the first time I walked into the cafeteria and I was like, oh, popular kids, cheer kids, theater kids, where do I belong? And I was similar to you in the sense that I always kind of wandered from group to group to group because I think you have a good heart. You see everybody else. It's so surprising to me to even hear you're oh, I didn't really have a lot of friends. I'm you are the person that sees everybody around you and makes them feel special. But I think it's because you know how you felt when all of that stuff happened. So you found drumming as an outlet, I'm sure, to hey, I can focus on this. I can be good at it. People get excited about that. But when it comes to your value, what happens if that ever goes away?
I think about that all the time, honestly. Because I think now I've found more value in myself. Definitely growing up, that's what it was. It was I only felt value because of drums. But now I've come to a point where drumming has the value that drumming has gave me has created those friendships to where there's a I feel a whole different value of people that actually care.
Yeah.
And so yeah, if drums ever go away, I think that just being able to be around music and being able to do anything that involves music or helps people with music, that would even get into the managing side of things. Because one thing that I strive for is I didn't really have help from anyone for any of this stuff. You know what I'm saying? No one ever handed out anything to me to get to where I'm at in music. And I know that's such a cliche to say, but
describe your hometown. What was the community like? You say that, and I totally understand it, but I think it's hard to grasp. And also, we have a lot of listeners from England and Germany and Amsterdam and stuff.
Right.
So they have American culture is just
yeah. So dude, my town is crazy. When I was growing up there, it was insanely small. dude, I want to say when I was growing up there, it was maybe, well, it was what was small to me. I want to say it was under 2,000 people, maybe, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Your hometown?
yeah, it had to be under 2,000, like had to be. It was like under 3,000. Someone can fact check that guy. I haven't looked at the statistic in a minute, but I'm pretty sure, because I wondered the same thing one time. I was like, bro, how small was it? Because now it's like, now I want to say it's like 28,000. It has grown exponentially. My town was like really, really small.
Yeah.
But I lived like 30 minutes from the city. But yeah, no, it was just yeah, that was my town was real small.
Yeah. So people cared about sports. They cared about.
Oh yeah. Sports football in my town was king.
Yeah.
The music program didn't really get much funding. It was like PTA parents were. If you were a parent of the kid, they were like in charge of like the fundraising. I think the school gave like a little bit to it.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is now, but I know they did just build like a crazy music auditorium for the high school, and the like super sick. So I can't wait till that's done. I actually just got to go see like one of their Christmas concerts in December.
Do they know who you are and like that you like made it?
The community. I have like a really awesome community in Mount Washington now. There's very, very big support system there, and I couldn't be like more grateful. And and I'm starting to like be more known around Louisville too, which is like really cool because I just like really value like Kentucky. Like I love Kentucky, and so it's cool to like have that recognition because I went through so much stuff like with local bands and like touring and like just playing shows for nobody, and so to have that recognition from the community is really cool too.
I won't go back to Michigan, and I don't go back. So y'all can go fuck yourselves. I'm still resentful.
I like Northern Michigan. Northern Michigan's
no,
pretty.
it's beautiful. It's great.
Live there, maybe.
I don't know what it is. I'm trying to let go of grudges, but I'm still very resentful because I mean, I'm not a musician by any means, but like I sacrificed a lot and I did a lot, and I think, I don't know, whatever. All the teachers now follow me, which like that's besides the point, but maybe in like 10 years I'll feel better about it.
Yeah.
I'm like, what's up? Like Mr. I won't say the name.
For real. That's an interesting.
So what do you like tell me about the Kentucky culture and like what you love about, like what's like different about Kentucky people?
Oh, man, you know what? Just to be completely honest, I wish I would have like valued it more and like got it more when I was in high school.
Yeah.
But I grew up in a community where like everyone was literally the same. You know what I'm saying? I grew up in a very redneck community. And so because I already felt like an outcast, like I wanted to be everything that was different from that.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to wear the skinny jeans and I wanted to wear all black. And, like I was wearing handcuffs and chains and like acting like I was like Bret Michaels and like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, dude, I don't know. I was just being different. But so it's like I and my family wasn't like really, my family moved to that small town from the city. So they were more like city people, you know what I'm saying? My mom like would go fishing with my grandpa, but like she didn't go fishing. My dad didn't go fishing, to go hunting. So it's like I didn't get to like go hunting ever. And like I didn't like I just like wasn't a country boy. Like growing up, I was more just like a redneck, just doing dumb stuff. You know? But like I didn't work on the farm. I didn't do anything along those lines.
What was the first band that you joined?
So my first band, we were called Bullet.
I love that name.
Dude, it was sick. We were this 5-piece hair metal band. We did the makeup. We did like original songs and everything.
Wow.
We were awesome. We never had anything recorded, but there is YouTube videos. And we all had different, our thing was like we all had different colored zebra pants. And we like teased our hair, makeup, like the whole 9 yards. It was sick. The hair metal thing was serious. Like it was real.
That was obsessed.
Real. Dude, it was awesome. Like we like played 2 covers and everybody would see us and be like, oh, they're a cover band. I'm like, no, we play originals. And like we cover like Smoking in the Boys Room.
Wow.
And like the Motley Crue version. And dude, it was awesome. It was so cool. But yeah, that was the band that I was in when I was in high school. And then from there I joined my first like metal band and we were called Death of the Dance Party. It was like techno metal. It was we weren't good. We didn't do it right.
How did you meet them? Was it like you were like at a concert and they were like, hey,
yeah,
dude?
yo, no. So funny story. I went to high school with this kid. He hated me. Despised me. And we were a band together. We were in middle school together. He didn't like me through middle school, and then our middle school separated. They had to put 2 middle schools in my town when it was starting to like explode and get bigger, and then we were in band together. He was 1 grade above me. Dude, this kid hated me.
What did you do to him?
It was so funny. Nothing. He hated my personality because I'm just like, he was really like quiet and timid, like incredibly intelligent. Like, I'm not the smart. I'm like just loud and rambunctious and just, you know what I'm saying? And
you're the personality hired.
Yeah. He did not like that I was like loud. But then one day we both walked into class and we were wearing the same, we had the same, not the same shirt, but like it was the same band.
Yeah.
Like we were both wearing this band shirt. The band was called The Devil Wears Prada. We were both wearing a Prada shirt, and we looked at each other, and I was like, and he was like, "You listen to that?" And I was like, "Yeah, dude, yeah." And then we sat in class and talked. I think he was a senior when this happened, or junior, and I was a sophomore. He was a junior, I was a sophomore, and we just started talking about all the bands we listened to, and then he was like showing me new bands, and he was like, "Dude, I actually like just joined this band, and we need a drummer." And I was like, "Yeah, dude, like, yeah, let's start a band." And dude, it was so funny. And sadly, we weren't good. It was so fun. It was so funny. We had such a good time. Like, that's when I like had like that's when like things were like really interesting for me, because like I didn't have like friends that went to high school, but all the dudes in that band were like between 18 and 23.
Oh, so you were a cool
so they
kid.
were taking me to like, I was like downtown all the time.
Yeah.
And like, so it felt like, because I was very much in so that like, oh, I want to get out of my small town.
Yeah.
Like everything here's the same. Like I was that rebel kind of mindset. And so like me being with like these older kids and like going to like environments where like there was like older women and like there was, I just felt like, I was like, man, I'd go to school and I'd be like, man, what'd you guys do? Oh, nothing. Okay, I was downtown. It was like,
right.
I thought I was cool, and just everybody was like, we literally don't care. And I was like,
but like,
cool.
did it matter if you were good or not? Like if the band was good or not? Because I think it's about the process, right?
None of those kids, like, I think it was like a bunch of country kids. So like, screamo to them, they didn't give a fuck.
Right.
They did not care, which is fine. Which is why I did it too. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, I wanted to be so different from everybody else. And obviously, I like genuinely, I was involved. That kind of music changed my life. You know what I'm saying? Like I got to where I am now because of metal. And we was in Death of the Dance Party. It was really funny. It was crazy how it got created. And like, so a lot of life changing things happened there. I was like starting to like travel out of state for shows because the singer had a car. And so we would go to like Chicago all the time. And I like ended up having like this friend group in Chicago that like I still keep in contact with.
Wow.
And like, yeah, dude, it was really, really cool. So that was like kind of my like blossoming phase, you know what I'm saying? And that's when I kind of really started like finding like a new me at that time. And or like who I was or what I was going to be growing into. And that's when I started really leaning into like networking and kind of trying to build on creating friendships and with different bands and so on and so forth. And, from there, I ended up joining this band called Anchors for Eyes, and that was like short-lived. It was like a couple months. We played like one show, and then but it was with some of the members from that band, and we like kind of just started a side thing.
How did it fizzle out? Was it like a big like band breakup that you hear about?
Well, no. So then I got an offer from this other local band called O'Kingdom, and on paper they looked like the biggest band ever in Kentucky. Like
they had a good publicist.
They looked, dude. They looked so professional. Like their MySpace was like crazy. Like they had like the way that it was set up just looked like real professional. So I was like, oh, yo, these guys are going to be like touring. Like, so this is the next step. And so I auditioned and they brought me in, and the guitar player didn't want me in the band because I was in that band Death at a Dance Party, and he was like, I will not have anyone from that band in my band. Like, dude, because we were so, like, that band was just so bad. He was, so
At
he
least
like
you showed up. That's,
yeah.
you know.
So he like didn't think that I was gonna be like, I was gonna be good and or able to play their songs or whatever. But they came over to my parents and we did a practice, and I think they really just kept me. I think it just kept me because because we had I had a practice spot that we could have, and they were like, "Oh, you can play the songs. Like, we're just gonna leave our stuff here."
Have you ever watched Gilmore Girls?
I mean, not the whole season,
but like you know what it is,
yeah.
right? Because they had like the garage and like the bands
Right.
that always like play in there, and it's like, yeah, you guys can come over. It's fine. Just come in here. I'm like, honestly, that's like half the battle.
Dude, I wanted a band. I just wanted to be in a cool band so bad, and so found out that they weren't the biggest band ever, and in Kentucky, and I was like, okay, well, these guys are like, this is like professional, like we're doing it the right way though. So, end up like booking tour, like getting into like booking our tours, like so I was like booking our shows and so on and so forth, and I was with them from 2011 to 2016.
That's a long time.
Yeah, and we did a lot. We did a lot of like Southwest, and we that band didn't see the whole U.S., but we did like a lot of South tours. We went to the Northeast. Like it was, that was the band that like I grinded with. That was the band that like van didn't have AC, and we played to Alabama for 2 people, and we had 2 days off and have to drive 16 hours because the next show was like in Texas. And
but that sounds so cool.
It was awesome. That was like life experiences. Like I had like $58 to my name, like trying to figure out, like begging my parents to send me $100 for gas and food. Dude, it was like crazy times. And then I was like, okay, well, how do I make this work? And then I was like, oh, well, I got to work jobs. So I ended up getting like 2 or 3 jobs. And then from there, I just kept figuring out how to grow and grow. And then I was like filling in for different bands and trying to get to like my band's name out there. And through that's what like ended up making me network too. Cause I ended up filling in for some bigger bands that did some like cooler tours and meeting people through that. And, but I was really just doing it to try and promote my band because those other bands were signed, and I just wanted to meet their management and like meet different bands that they were touring with, because I was like fans of those bands too. And, so just trying to do the networking thing. And
you're great at networking. That's like your number one skill. And I also love, like, even though like high school wasn't the easiest for you and like middle school wasn't the easiest for you, and you had to sort of shield yourself a little bit from like, oh, these people don't like me, but that doesn't make me want to fit in with them. I can still be myself and express that. You being yourself is a thing that was like your magic power later on, because you're like, well, I didn't have to change myself. Now you're just seeing me for who I am. Yes, drumming is my like tool to get there, but also I'm also a cool guy who can like live off of $58, you know?
Yeah, dude, like drumming definitely in that era was what kind of made me feel connected to anyone. It was like, if anybody was like talking to me, it was mainly about drums and stuff. So from O'Kingdom, in 2013, I filled in for this band called Beyond the Shore, and we did a tour with a band called Sylar. Later on in 2016, I ended up getting a call from Sylar, and they were like, "Hey, can you come fill in for us? We need a drummer on this thing." And I was like, "Yeah." And I had always like felt this like really like when I filled in for that Beyond the Shore band, I like had this odd connection to Sylar where I was just like hanging out with them a lot. I found myself hanging out with them a lot. Never knew why. And then for some reason, I just like from 2013 to 2016, I was just always like thinking about those dudes. I was just like, man, I hope they're like doing good. Or like I was like, something in my brain was like, dude, I would like need to be friends with, like I want to be friends with these dudes. Like, and so I like, I thought I was like closer friends with them than what the actual friendship was.
In your head, you were besties. It's like when you're like stalking somebody on Instagram, you're like, yeah, I know those things. Oh, I can't say that out loud.
Dude, yeah. It was like, it definitely thought I was like tighter with them than it actually was. And so then in 2016, I ended up getting that call from them, and I was like, that's weird. They never call me. And they were like, yeah, man, we need you to come fill in. So I was like, okay, dude, absolutely. And so I was actually on the way home from a tour, and then they called, and then the next week they came to Kentucky, and we did a rehearsal, and then we went to Pennsylvania. I think that's what, or then we went to Utah. The first show was like in Utah. I'm pretty sure that's how it happened.
Wow.
And then that was like a 2-week tour, and then they ended up calling me again to come play a show in New York, but they were like they were small, so they didn't have money. So the only way that I was going to be able to do that was to drive. So I drove to New York, played a show, and then drove right back home to Kentucky. Dude.
And are you making money at any of these shows? Like, do they pay you to know?
It was I didn't know any better.
Yeah.
Like my only thought was, this band is bigger than anything I've done. I will do anything to like take this opportunity. Everything was an opportunity, whether money was involved or not.
Yeah.
I did not care. I was ruthless, dude. I was like living on the edge, ruthless.
Yeah.
I mean, just to set the record straight here, I lived with my parents. So, you know, I wasn't like living a hard life. I was just like, you know, I wasn't like my parents were very, very supportive. Not in the sense that they were giving me money.
Sure,
they did not give me
course,
money, but I had a place to live. So I didn't have to like, I wasn't paying rent, you know, at the time and stuff. And shout out my parents, because very, very grateful for them.
You need that support system.
Yeah, they were like, hey man, we're not going to give you money if you're going to do this. You got to figure it out.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
So, so I get the call from Sylar, and you know, we're doing all that stuff. Drove to New York, played that show, came back, and then they end up hitting me the next month. And we're like, hey, can you come do this tour? So I went and did the tour, and at that time things hadn't worked out with their drummer, so they parted their ways, and they asked me, they're like, hey, we want you to be our permanent touring drummer. So this was my step into like the first biggest thing that I had ever done. And with that band, you know, now we're all friends and stuff. Like
now you're besties. At least we'll pretend afterwards.
We did. You know, we went to Europe together. We did like a Europe tour 3 times. We did a Japan tour twice.
Wow.
And we did Australia. I did Puerto Rico, which was a really, really special one, because like not a lot of bands get to go to Puerto Rico. And dude, it was so cool. Toured the U.S. more times than I can ever count. But yeah, like it just kind of never got bigger than a 1 or 2 spot. And, you know, I kind of just had that reality of, what the fuck am I going to do in life? You know what I'm saying? It was like, I'm doing this because I want to be able to put a roof over my head and like put food on the table one day. And I wasn't doing that yet. And which is okay. Like, that's fine. And then as I'm like having this realization, COVID hits, and we kind of had just got home from a Europe tour that the tour itself was awesome. But you could tell that spirits were kind of down because our album hadn't really done well, and just kind of in a spot where we didn't really feel like things were moving. And so people were pretty upset, you know, which rightfully so. Like it was a tough thing to that we have to realize. So I'm everybody's kind of just like taking a break from each other kind of thing. And I don't really know what's going on at this time. But so at that time, I like started making moves into picking up the band Devil's Cut into the management thing. And so I was going to Nashville a lot. One of the producers that they worked with had just gotten hired by Jelly at his studio. I didn't know who Jelly was. I knew he had the song Save Me, and that was about it. I had a buddy that was a big fan, and he would play this song called Sunday Morning all the time when I worked at the strip club. And so I bartended in a strip club for like 4 years or 5 years. And
that sounds like a blast.
It was awesome. Dude, it was sick. It was so sick, man. I miss it every day, man. The vocalist of Devil's Cut was the owner of the strip club.
Wow.
The strip club was called Trixie's.
Obsessed.
So, dude.
What did you do at the strip club? Were you like
I bartended? And then I'd play protector if
I love that.
people started being stupid.
Good.
So, that was one of the best times of my life, man. I miss that strip club. I'm not like, everybody thinks I'm saying like I miss the strip club because I'm a man and just automatically assume that for women. But like, it's like, I like the strip clubs for like the environment. You know what I'm saying? Like,
but also like the culture.
Yeah, the culture. Exactly.
It's the family that makes the strip club the strip club.
Yeah.
Like nobody has a stronger bond, hopefully, if it's a good thing, right? than the people that are actually working there and like the people that come and like even like the people that come all the time. Like it's for me as like a woman and also taking a lot of dance classes recently, it's like all of the strippers in the class, I'm like, can I be you? Like
I feel, I mean, obviously like I'll never know what it feels like to be a woman, but a few of the women that I like have talked to that were in the entertainment business, they felt, obviously there's the negative sides of it, which, you know, it's something I'll never be able to understand or not understand, but like relate to, you know, but there's also the like empowerment sides of like how it you know, it makes them feel beautiful and independent and like
and strong and also like
and comfortable in their own,
yes,
you know,
yes,
and you know, and honestly, there's even I've even had the conversations where they've been like, yo, there's also like it also like sorry, this might be too much, but they've told me that it plays into their like worship kink.
100%,
and I'm like,
yes,
yeah, that makes sense. Like you know, like
because you're already being objectified all day, every day, right? But like then to take that power back and say, I'm gonna put on a show the way that I want to, and also like I like there's something about like getting the money, having people like view you like that, and like you get to put on the show, like exactly when you're even on the stage, right? It's like people are watching you like do your thing, and it's like it's just you're dancing for yourself, you know. So I
think that's like really cool part about it for females. You know what I'm saying? Like if you given the females that have that experience, you know, and God bless or forbid, or God forbid any of the females that have had a negative experience in those environments. That's unfortunate. I saw quite a few of those, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But yeah, man.
You're
I just love. Yeah. So I loved. Like, I just like the environments and the cultural show. I'm so glad that you understood that, dude. Because it's hard to like try to explain that. Someone's like, no, dude, you just like to watch girls. I'm like,
I mean, we can.
Like,
that could be like a whole other podcast about like, I mean, again, adult entertainment, and the podcast already knows. Like, you know, I worked at Playboy. I don't think at the time that this will be announced, I haven't said it yet, but you know, a lot of that is like there's still that element of, okay, we're promoting women making money based on like selling themselves, and like of course it doesn't feel good. Like, why do I have to sell my body or the presumed access to me in order to make as much money as men, right? But I think it's still, for me at least, it's a way to bring back equity and to build equity.
And I would also even argue the choice behind it. You know what I'm saying? It's like men or women don't have to, you know, work at the strip club.
Yeah.
But obviously, if there is a market there and you are comfortable and want to make a living that way, why not? And also if it feeds into all the positive aspects of it too, you know, and so, and you know, for men too, you know, I actually just got to, I didn't like dive into this. I've never been to a male strip club or like, you know, I've never went to like a male one.
Have you not been to WeHo?
No. Dude.
How many times have you been in LA and you've never been to WeHo?
Bro, I like have driven through. The most WeHo I've done is Troubadour. But you got to understand, like, we just fly in and play a show and we're out. So I don't like get to spend a ton of time. No, I swear.
The next time you're in LA, you, Amanda, and I, we're doing a night in WeHo.
Let's run it. I'm there. I love it. I'm so down. I've been to like a drag show. I've hung out I went to like 2 drag shows, I think. It was just awesome. Same
as WeHo on a Friday night.
But I got to like hang out. So Bunny had she just did a music video, and she had the Australian male strippers, like the dudes from like Vegas in the video, because they tour and they came to Nashville and they moved their stuff to Nashville. So they're in the video, and me and them became boys.
I was gonna say
immediately, and so we just started hanging out, and like, and dude, like, obviously we didn't get into that aspect of it, but it was, you know, obviously, you know, they're males are, you know, in the strip club industry too. But I'm obviously females going to a strip club, it's probably going to be a way more safe environment, and way more comforting. Take you. But dude, that would be like. That'd be so cool, dude. Yeah, I'm down. I'm down for all of it. But yeah, man, I loved working in a strip club. But love just the culture and just everything. Dude, even if it was a male strip club, I'd go in there just like with the boys, just like, yo, let's run it, dude. It's just fun, dude. Screw it. I mean, not like sitting there and getting lapped in. I just like to go to the bar and just like kick it. It's cool.
It's just the vibe. So you're starting to manage.
Managing, thinking the band. Yeah, we're just talking about strip clubs over here. Dudes, whatever, girls. No, man, I love it. And also, like I said, that also goes back to the 80s hair metal of because that was a part. I mean, the girls video like was life changing for me. You know what I'm saying? And then it was Motley Crue, and it was just that's the whole thing. I love all of it. But it's definitely like my environment. But anyway, so 2020. I'm thinking things are falling apart. The strip club closed, and I just started like picking up that band, and I was like, man, I'm gonna like dip my toes down in Nashville and start going, because it was like only a 2-hour drive. So I was just making 16-hour drives, like why not? And so I started going to Nashville, whether it was like to write with Devil's Cut or whether it was just to go down and like link with country drummers or like go down and link with other musicians or like go to shows and network and like so on and so forth. And just through all that, I for a year and a couple months, like I was going down there like 2 or 3 times a week, you know? And, 2 or 3 times a month, my bad, not a week. And it was like every weekend I was just like doing a Nashville weekend or every other weekend just because I wanted to be in that environment. I feel like I've always felt pretty strongly that like if there's something you want to do, you have to be in that environment. Yes. And if you're not surrounded by that environment at all, like a majority of the time, you won't get to there. You know what I'm saying? So it's like if you want to play drums and, you know, if you want to be in like an R&B, hip hop, or, you know, rap or whatever it is, like an LA culture style music, like you have to be in LA. You
have to be here because you also have to be available. And I think it can start like, even if you're, you know, again, across the world and you're starting with Facebook groups, like I'm a big Facebook group girly, like, you know, joining the Facebook groups, getting to know the people, that's a fine start. But like, then you start making the visits out, whether it's 2-3 times a month, then you start coming here long-term, then you have to move. But also the people recognize who's local, the people recognize who's around, also embodying like the different culture and the personality types and like getting to understand like the language, because it is very different. Like, you know, you have to start kind of embodying all of that. Otherwise it's not, I just don't think it's going to happen for you.
No, I literally, that is how I have moved since I had that. I'm very, very lucky that I had that realization in high school. Once I started being around it, because it was like I started noticing that like being in environments was getting me closer and closer. Though it took a long, you know, I went through shit for even into the beginning of the Jelly Roll stages. I was still having a hard time. You know what I'm saying? Like, because he was still new. He was still like a newer artist that was coming up, and we didn't really start being like. I didn't start being comfortable like living wise until like 2023. You know what I'm saying? So we were still like, you know, 2021 was when like I like got on my first bus and like did my first bus tours and like got my first like I got a paycheck for playing a show, and like I'd never experienced that. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, but it was just so awesome. So it was like I you know, coming out of that into, because I was just always there, I ended up becoming friends with like a bunch of dudes that played music around town. And then I also ended up becoming friends with like some like Jelly Roll's management and like people that were just around him, like his video team and like stuff, and not even on purpose. It was literally just because I was there all the time. And then like me and his DJ became friends, because his DJ would like be up in this little studio room upstairs all night, every night. That is the hardest. DJ's so good. DJ Chill, dude. You're the hardest working dude, and I will say it always. At this time, I was working at a vape shop, and I was bartending. And I just got off work from bartending. It was a Wednesday night. I'll never forget. There was a concert next door. I would even argue, I could be wrong, but I want to say I'm pretty positive the concert that was happening at the time was Alexandra Kay and Cooper Allen. I think. I can't remember. but
I'm about to
pretty
Google
sure
this later.
because I'm pretty sure I was just drunk enough to go say hi to AK and Cooper to do my networking stuff because I hadn't got I hadn't got that phone call yet. So, and I really think it was that night because I bartended the concert and I got off work early. So I could be very, very wrong though, but I think it was. But anyways, so it's like 2 a.m., 3 a.m. I'm piss hammered and I start getting phone calls and I'm like, what the fuck, dude? It's like a bunch of my buddies in Nashville. And they were like, yo, do you know these Jelly Roll songs? And I was like, yeah, I mean, I guess. I was like, it's hip hop. I'd figured out. I didn't fucking know the songs. I didn't listen to a damn song, dude. But I was like, I'd figure it out. I don't care.
I can feel my mom having a heart attack, like listening right now, just like, oh, what?
Dude, well, bro, I can get into so many heart attacks. Oof. Well, I'll tell you about last week. It'll give you a dang heart attack. This show, what we had to do for this show. So we, so I get that. I got like 2 or 3 phone calls asking the same question, and I was like, yeah. And they were like, okay, we'll keep your phone on you tomorrow. You're gonna get a phone call. I was like, I didn't believe it because I just take all that with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
And so ended up partied all night, of course. And then I ended up having to wake up at 8:30 to go into work at the vape shop the next morning. And so I get to the vape shop at 9:50. Customers are already outside. And so they come in and I get a phone call and there's like 6 people in line ready to ring up and the phone's ringing. I was like, guys, you know me? I was like, I don't do this. I was like, but I have to take this phone call. Like, I'm so sorry. And so I answer the phone and I was like, yo, like, what's going on? And they were like, hey, like, when do is this Cody? And I was like, yeah. And they were like, could you be in Nashville tonight if we needed you? Like, how fast could you get here? And I was like, yeah, I could be there as soon as possible. I could probably get there around 6 or 7. And they're like, all right, we'll call you back. I was like, okay. So I ring everyone out, end up getting a call back, and they're like, hey, like how much what's your rate? And like so on and so forth. I was like, rate? Dude. I was like, I've never been paid to play drums. Like, I don't know what that is. And I like that. Yeah. So I and I didn't know much about Jelly. I didn't know, normally like I said, I didn't know anything about Ray. I didn't even know what to ask for because I didn't know what was like acceptable or disrespectful. I didn't know about like day rates, half pay, week pay. I didn't know like anything about that stuff. And like salaries, like nothing. I didn't know shit, dude. I didn't know a fucking thing. And so I was just like, man, whatever number like will get me this. I don't know, man. I'll do whatever you guys need. And they were like, well, our guitar player's been around here for the longest and we can't pay you more than him, so we'll give you this number. And I was like, okay, respect, that's cool. Like, obviously, like people have seniority, that makes sense. That's cool. I was like, literally, I don't care, bro. I just want it. So no joke.
Paid? Where do I sign?
So I had, because of COVID, we weren't bartending that much. But this was 2021, but sorry, I'm backtracking. But because of COVID, we weren't bartending that much. And Trey, the owner of the strip club that sings for Devil's Cut, I had got him on at the vape shop because the vape shop stayed open. We were just doing curbside stuff. And so I called him and I was like, dude, I just got this call. I need you to come cover the shop. And he was like, I'm at lunch with my daughter. And I was like, how long will you be? And he's like, about half hour. And I was like, okay, cool. So I was like, okay, I just got to accept this. And I was like, oh, I can't wait. And so it was like 10 minutes into that half hour, or like 20 minutes into that half hour. I think he said he'd be there in 10 or something. Yeah. He texted me he'd be there in 10. As soon as he texted me, I was like, hey, I'm locking up shop. And I walked out, locked up, set the alarm, and left. And he came and, took over the store. But
did you know that this was about to change your life?
No, I had no clue. I literally thought it was my step into Nashville. I thought this was like my foot in the door. That's how I had saw it. I had no idea like what any of this was going to be. Like I said, I didn't know Jelly. I had only met him once, and it was because he said my mullet was cool. He was pulling into his studio, and my keys were locked in my truck, and I was trying to get it. I was waiting on AAA, so I was like locked in. My truck was locked. I can't make this up, dude. My truck was locked in his studio parking lot, and he pulls up in his big ass, nice ass truck, and he said, "That's a nice mullet, Bubba." And I was like, I turned around, I was like, thanks, man. And then I like saw it was him, and I was like, oh, and he like pulls in and gets out and goes in and comes back out and leaves. And dude, it was a really funny moment. And oh no, actually he was longer than that. He walked in, and I was like, oh, fuck this truck. And I walked in because Devil's Cut was in the studio, and he walked into his studio, and he was talking to the Devil's Cut guys, and he's like, man, this sounds pretty good, guys. Like, it's pretty cool. And like, it was, so I like, you know, just went in there to kind of like see what was going on, what he was going to say to him, but, or if he was even going to say anything, but, or just listen to any advice if he maybe was to lay anything out there, because you can learn anything at any moment from that dude. So then anyways, that was like the only interaction I'd ever had with him prior to meeting him. So I'm on the way down, I'm listening to the 18 songs that I was given that I might play. We had no idea what we were doing, thinking I'm going into rehearsal, and then no joke, I pull up, I like call them and I'm like, hey, I'm pulling into Nashville. And they were like, oh, change of plans. Jelly wants to go to a pre-year steakhouse dinner. And we were like, I was like, dude, I just got handed 18 songs. We need to rehearse. And he was like, yeah, well, he wants to go to a steakhouse. So, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. Well, I was like, this is how, cool. All right, whatever. And, you know, I didn't know how any of this works. So I'm like, dude, I pull up where it's Jeff Ruby's. I've never been to fucking Jeff Ruby's in my life. I just knew that I couldn't afford that place. So I was like, I've never been. So I pull up and I'm like, dude, where do I park? And they were like, you got a valet. And I was like, how do I do that? So, dude, I'm like giving this valet guy my 94 red F-150, which I still have. I still drive. It's the only thing I drive. But, you know, it's just like, doesn't look like it belonged to Jeff Ruby's. And dude, having no idea, I was like, do I give you the keys? And dude, I'm not kidding. This is very real. And and so yeah, he's like, yeah, you just give me the keys. So I go in, and this is my like first time like meeting everyone. The only person that I knew was the guy that was doing our tracks and helping with ears and stuff. His name's Mark. And that was because Mark actually was my old band Sylar, this band before Jelly that I just came from. He was RTM and sound guy. So it was like I had someone there, and that I was like, okay, like I know him. It was like crazy how, because we neither of us knew.
Small world.
And so we both walk in to steakhouse, and we were like, what are you doing? And he was like, oh, I just got hired with Jelly. He's like, dude, I just got hired with Jelly. He's like, shut the fuck up. It was so funny. And what's even cool about that is he'll hate that I'm talking about this, but he was in a sick band that I was a big fan of when I was like younger. They were called A Mirror, and they still tour. He's not in that band anymore, but dude,
these band names are chef's kiss.
so cool that me and him are friends. I love that guy. But yeah, so like to see him, I was like, oh, so sick. So we sit down, and I don't really know anyone but him. And we're at this big table. There's like 22 people, and they bring out custom menus and something I'd never seen before. They had like jelly rolled. I forgot the name of the tour. Something about working. It's working something. I don't know. And but it said the tour on. I was like, dude, what is this? And then Jelly sits next to me. So he's at the head of the table, and I'm sitting next to him, and I'm like, shit. And obviously I'm like mad nervous because I just don't know. I'm like wanting to be perfect with the songs. And he's like, what's wrong? He's like, what's wrong, Bubba? You look tense. And I was like, man, to be honest with you, I was like, I just really want this gig, and I don't want to fuck up. Like, this is my first like thing in Nashville, and I don't want to, I want to do good. And he was like, we're gonna help you relax. And this is at the time that he was like drinking, before he laid off of alcohol, and it was just tequila. Like, and I don't even like tequila. Dude, I hate tequila.
You don't like tequila?
I don't like tequila.
I'm learning so many things. No WeHo, no tequila.
Okay. No. There's no WeHo. I'll go to WeHo. I just haven't been. I don't know where to go. You know what I'm saying?
My mind is blown.
My like, bro, my like when it comes to LA, my go-tos are Rainbow Room. Just because it's Rainbow Room. I love Rainbow Room, dude. And I never get to go, and it just makes me feel like I'm in Motley Crue. And I love Rainbow Room. And it's I love, one of my favorite things is walking out, because growing up, sorry, I'm gonna get off on a little side thing, because like growing up, I was obsessed with 80s hair metal. Like all you would see is like the Roxy, Rainbow Room, whiskey, so on and so forth. And so like to walk out a Rainbow Room onto, not out on the street, but like when you're just out on that little patio and you like look up and there's the sign of the Roxy right here, and then you look up and there's a rainbow right here. It's just, dude, I just love being there. It's so cool. It's just, that's like my spot. And that, I mean, it's not my spot, but it's my spot that I like going to. Yeah.
I get it.
When I'm here. Also like, obviously Barney's and like Jameson's, like I like those spots too.
Yeah.
But Rainbow's where I always end up inevitably. But, and then food wise, I love going to Tamashi ramen. And like, that's like my things here. I found this like really cool, it's not food. I found this like, there was one time where I was in the studio in North Hollywood for like 2 months, and there's this taco spot out there called Tacos Manzanos that I'm in love with. But when I was out there, dude, I was like I didn't do as much LA exploring and like of food or anything like that I should have. I ended up finding this spot on the rocks in Malibu by the pier, and I would just drive out there and sit for hours. Like, that was the shit that I loved.
Can't do that anymore.
Wait, really?
Well, with the fires.
Oh, did
it
hit?
They just reopened it this weekend, but still.
I didn't know it hit out there. Yeah, prayers for all you guys, for real. If anybody is listening to this that dealt with that. Damn. Yeah, man, I haven't like I liked like I was going out to Malibu all the time and just sitting on those rocks and like looking at the water. And I'd like to drive out to Santa Monica and too. I feel like, I mean, obviously I've been to Nobu and Malibu now at this point in my life, finally. Dude, finally, no way in hell. Like I didn't even know what a Nobu was until like 2 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Like,
good.
I love Nobu. But yeah, man, it was, and it ended up getting, once again, absolutely piss hammered.
But also, like, don't let him fool you, because he's the life of the party 24/7. Like, you can hold your liquor, but you can also hold like a full steady conversation and nobody would know.
Oh yeah.
That you're like not gonna remember any of the words that you said.
Dude. Yo, that you guys experienced like the full mode of that. I didn't know how gone I was at that lunch until I got to my room. Bro,
I'm glad I didn't continue.
I think I have a voicemail. I think because we were supposed to have, there was a party. Jelly had a party at Rainbow that night.
Yeah.
And I was supposed to be at. I couldn't go. You were
talking about it the entire lunch.
I know. I was all I was looking forward to. I was so hungover, bro, that I literally couldn't go. It was. Oh, I was so depressed. I got like a FaceTime video from my friend Gabby. She works, her and this girl named Crystal. They work over at 10th Street Management or this management company, and they were there, and they FaceTimed me, but I was passed out, and then Jelly left me a voice message that says, "You suck." And then it's like all of them laughing. Oh, dude, it was really funny. I love that. Yeah, I didn't even make it, dude. But like, I was impressed with myself at how, thank you for noticing that. What an honor.
I still have videos of you from that lunch where I think you're calling somebody and you're like, "We're working with Playboys. Really cute."
Fuck yeah.
We were at the Roosevelt, if anybody cares.
Yeah. We're staying at the Roosevelt right now. And I literally, dude, I walked into the restaurant. I was like, "Oh, dude, this is where I had that Playboy interview." I was like, "Oh, shit, I stayed here before." I was like, "I don't think I've stayed there." I didn't realize where it was. Oh, what an idiot. That was so fun. So then we get piss hammered. you know, I keep it together. I hold it up, I hold it down.
He's a great networker.
Yeah. And no, we had a good time. We had such a blast. Well, they, like I said, we were at this time. It was still like smaller. So I was sleeping on his manager's floor at the time. His manager at the time, his floor, and then we get it's 4:30 in the morning, and we get a text that says rehearsals at 9 a.m. And I was like, my first rehearsal with this band. And I was like, you're fucking kidding me. No way, dude. There's no way. And I am such a baby when it comes to hangovers, dude. I am terrible with hangovers. So bad. I'm the biggest baby. Like, I will wake up, I'll puke, I have to order pizza, and then I'm going to go back to sleep. That's normally the routine. And I don't come back until about 11, and then the day starts again. So, but yeah, definitely a nightlife. No. And I made it. I made it to the rehearsal at 9 a.m. and no one else did. I swear to God, that is not a lie.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. I was determined. I was like, I'm going to go to this rehearsal and I'm going to have to put a trash can next to this drum kit.
And nobody else made it?
Nobody made it at 9. So I set up and I start running through the songs hungover, just trying not to puke. And finally, it got to a point where I was like, oh, okay, I got to lay down, dude, because nobody else was there yet. And so I lay down and I took like a 30-minute nap. And then everybody started coming in around 11. And I was like, oh, it's nice you guys to show up. You know what I'm saying? It's like the rest of the band that was like, you know, partying, whatever. I don't know. And it was fun. Obviously, it was all fun and games. Like, I wasn't upset, but I was like,
I have a stupid question. When you're practicing the songs, do you have like a note sheet that tells you what to play, or is it more like you can listen to the songs and then figure it out from there?
At that time, I would have to listen. Yeah. I didn't have a system for myself yet where I could like write out songs like that.
Yeah.
And his songs were like, at the time, were like very hip hop, and also it was, yeah, 'cause since his stuff was like more hip hop, I was really only concerned about like where the stops and everything were. But no, I hadn't written anything out yet at that time. Now I do. Yeah. When it not his songs, because with his songs I can like, I'll write them out just to have them when we first get them. You know what I'm saying? Like, if it's like, hey, here's the new songs, we're gonna be introducing these in 2 days. Yeah. Then I'll chart out and write out everything. And but if it's like, when it comes to like metal, like if I'm doing like any like metal drum covers, like I don't write that stuff out. I just go by what I listen to in memory and practice. Like, but yeah, with the Jelly songs or like any country songs or anything like that, I can normally, now I have a system where I can just normally write it out and go and learn it and play it kind of thing with the band. So, but at that time, no, I didn't have anything written out.
It was kind of awesome though that you got to like meet everybody and party with them before you even got started, because it's such a big personality fit, right?
Bro, it was so, honestly, I think that was something that was so relieving and that I had never been around before. Yeah. The freedom, I guess, of it, where there wasn't like, we have to be perfect. Like, we have to rehearse, we have to do this, because that was like the only environment that I knew was we have to be perfect every day. Nobody can be drunk. Nobody can do this. You can't do this. Like, it was just, there was just such like expectations of perfection for me for like so long.
Yeah.
And this was the first time that it was like, oh, we can have fun.
Yeah.
It was like, it wasn't focused on the song, like everything being perfect. It was like, yo, let's have a good time and like hang out and have camaraderie. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that was like a very like cool thing that I had never experienced. And then we went into rehearsals for like 4 hours. So it was like the first time we had ever hung out and rehearsed, and we went there for like 4 hours, and then we packed up the trailer, and went and played our first show with Jelly Roll for 7,000 people. So, and that was like it was like my first show back after COVID was after. So I didn't think, I went into COVID thinking that my career might be over, or I might have to like, that drumming or might not be it. Like, I might have to do something else in music. You know what I'm saying? Like, I might not be able to get to wherever. And then out of COVID into like my first bus, my first paycheck, and the biggest show I'd ever played. And it was like, dude, I fucking cried. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't know, like, I just, you know, it was one of those things I was just like, what the fuck just happened? And then then the thought hit of like, oh crap, like, how do I stay? Like, how do I keep, like, this is everything I've ever wanted. And then it was like, we were headlining venues that year that like the metal bands that I looked up to were headlining. And so I had like always wanted to headline those venues. Like I'd only like played some of the venues I hadn't even played because the bands that we had toured with weren't that big. Like, but the bands that I was fans of were playing those venues. Yeah. So it was like some of the venues I'd played, I had toured with previously with bands, but we weren't headlining. We were the opener. And then some of the venues I was like, oh my God, I hope I get to play there one day. Yeah. And it was like the Coca-Cola Roxy in Georgia, or like, I was like, man, I really hope I get to headline House of Blues Orlando one day, or I get to headline like Paris Town Hall in Kentucky, and like, you know, just like these like 3,000 cap rooms that like either I hadn't played or I'd only been to when I was like opening, and we were doing all of them. And it was like some of my favorite bands were on their headlining tour that I thought was like the biggest thing, but they were like playing the next 2 days, you know? Yeah, so like the next day or the day after us, where it was like, I was like doing the same thing at the same level as like my favorite bands at that time, bands that I like looked up to in the metal scene. And so it was just like a really cool thing of like, oh my God, like I'm doing that too. Like that's really cool. And so that was like a really nice, like satisfactory thing for me. And then none of us knew that it was going to take off to like what it did. You know what I'm saying?
When was that moment? Like, did you even have a moment where you're like, oh my God, or was it just one day you were in front of a sold out?
I think for me, that moment was 2023. That was like, oh, this is something special. Right now I'm a part of like music history with him, you know? And like, I'm just so grateful to like be on this journey with him. Chills. And I dude, yeah, I think, the amphitheater, when we headlined the amphitheaters, I was like, there was just some nights that I was looking out and I was like, man, we're like, this is
the real deal.
Yeah. Like, you know what I'm saying? It was just so special. And yeah, cause like 2022, we like toured with Shinedown, and we were playing like the smaller, like arena, like the AAA hockey arenas that hold like 5,000, you know? And saying that is still insane. Like to play for any amount of people in general is crazy, but like, you know, for me, I never thought playing for 5,000 or 7,000 people would be like a casual conversation, let alone now it's like, oh, what do we do tonight? Oh yeah, tonight was like 15. Oh, what do we do tonight, dude? Yeah, I think there was 26,000. I don't know. You know, and it's just such a blessing. Like you can't, I can't even explain it, man. Cause you know, it's one of those things where you work so hard and like go through so much for so long, and to see things like coming into to getting to where you know that you've been like, one of the things that you've been working for your whole life is like kind of like paying off, and like you're like, I don't know, it's just really awesome that I'm getting to where all the goals, I don't even know how to say it, everything that I've been working for is starting to happen,
and you get to experience it.
That's really cool, because you know, I just don't take it for granted, because I feel like there's a lot of people that don't maybe get that work hard and maybe don't get to see those goals, and so it's just very, very nice. It's very cool, and yeah, I'm just beyond grateful to be doing this. And then I get to like hang out with people like you and meet people like you and Amanda and everyone else. And
it's a good group. It's a good group of people, and I think you start to recognize like who's, and I don't say like real, because that's such a word that's overused, but kind human beings that are trying to make the world a better place, right? In some kind of capacity.
Yeah. Sorry, I was about to make a joke of like,
do it.
I feel like the term real is so like overused in LA.
I know.
Like Dude, that is.
Like I heard myself say it, and I was like, I need to shut up.
But like no, and like when you say it, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
But dude, I've been in conversations with some people who'd be like, "Yo, that's just so real," and I'm like, "What do you?"
I know. My friends have started to tell me that I sound like a California girl, and I was like,
No.
I'm scared of going anywhere outside of California because I've changed my entire vocabulary to be this. But anyways, where did the name pork chop come from?
Yo, so dude, one night I get on tour and I just really love to like, I get to be by myself and I get to be on the bus. I love the bus so much. And I love just, it falls into like the strip club thing that it's like just part of the environment and the culture that I just love being on. And so it's like I'm just riding on a bus, and I just tend to party, by myself sometimes on the bus, or like we'll be with the guys, but then like some of the guys will go to bed, and then like me and some of the other players, we have like we'll call ourselves sunrise boys, because there's sometimes that we'll stay up and just party until the sunrise for no reason. So one night I sent it, and everybody went to sleep and I was alone. And I just was in the back lounge just for no reason sending it. Like no music, no nothing, just sitting back there in the blue light, just drinking away. And just having fun. Not even like sad, not nothing. I'm just vibing. I'm just hanging out, I think I like went and sat with the driver for a little bit. I probably smoked a joint, like didn't make an edible or something. I don't know. Yeah, who knows? And either way, I was up very late, and there was a conversation of a possible sound check, and which was interesting because like we hadn't sound checked that whole tour, and it was like there was like the first talk that like, and Jelly doesn't come to sound checks either normally. Like he comes to like sometimes, but he's normally not there for the early sound checks. And this one he showed up to, and it was the one time that I had partied, and the sound check was at 11 a.m. So I was dead asleep. I was passed out, obviously, and the one time he shows up to sound check, I wasn't there, and the one time he showed up to sound check during the tour, I wasn't there, and they had to come wake me up, and they had to come wake me up out of the bunk, and I got out of the bunk and I walked on the stage and I got my pack in my ears, and Jelly goes, he was like, no, we're gonna let your drum tech play drums, and it was like a whole like thing. It was like really funny. Like he was like making the joke that he was like, oh, you want to miss sound check? You like whatever, and like being funny.
Yeah.
And after the sound check, I walked up to my guitar player Jack, and I was like, dude. He was like, how you feeling? And I was like, dude, you're gonna have to start calling me Ham. I was like, because I feel like a piece of ham. I look like a piece of ham right now. Like I just felt like a blob, dude. And I like gained a lot of weight too, like at that time. And dude, so I was just like, man, just start calling me Ham. That's my new nickname. And he died laughing. He thought it was so funny. And so he goes to dude, the concept of Ham as a nickname is hilarious to me still. And so he goes and he thinks it's hilarious, and he goes and tells Jelly and Manili, his manager. He was like, yo, Cody's new nickname is Ham. And Jelly goes, it's funny that you say that. He's like, because when we flew in here earlier, or whenever they got there, he's like, him and Manili were having a conversation about how they were going to start calling me Pork Chop. And because I'd gained, they're like, not like being mean, what I'm saying, but it was like, you
look like you're having a good time.
And it was just, being funny. And so I thought it was hilarious. Well, I loved it. I was like, hell yeah, dude. And he was like, no, you gotta lean into it. And I was like, dude, if you want to like lean into this, we'll lean into it. Like I'll go with pork chop, and I loved it. I thought it was awesome, and he thought it was awesome too. He loved it. But what solidified it was we did like 3 shows with Morgan Wallen last year, or 2. Well, it was supposed to be 3. I think we only did 2. I think one of them got canceled. I'm not sure. Anyways, we did a show with Morgan Wallen last year, and it was during his stadium tour, and I had this like short little like 20-second drum break, and like a 20-second drum break, and there was a build up to it where it's just like this kind of like very basic pattern where it's just like and he did a and B like call and response with the crowd, but he goes, "Go pork chop, go," and he put the mic up, and the whole stadium went, "Go pork chop, go pork chop," and it was like, and we kind of had this like moment where we looked at each other, and he was still doing it. We were like, and it was like, it was.
This was an accident, clearly.
Literally. But. And when something like that happens, and he is just like
done.
It's just, yeah, he was like, this is what it is. Like, we're doing it. And so I was like, okay, yeah, we're gonna lean into this, because I like, that was awesome. Like, that was so cool. So I also think pork chop's like just a funny name.
It's hilarious. It's and your merch line is really cute.
Yeah, I thought it was. I
really want a shirt. I haven't gotten one yet. You're still selling them though, right?
Oh, gotcha.
Okay,
always.
As I have my jelly roll shirt.
Yeah, I got you. Always, for sure. I got you always, dude. You already know.
Write that down.
Put it in the books forever. Yeah, no, it's I want to. There's so many cool things that I want to do with it as well too. Like, future talking, dude. But I want to do like a children's book. It's gonna be called Pork Chop and Friends.
This can be
about being a dreamer. Imagine.
Imagine. I see it happening before the end of the year.
I think that'd be so adorable.
Well, because you're also an educator.
I need to find a publisher.
I might be working on it. Okay, running out of time. So, but no, I want to say like you are like beyond everything that we've even talked about. Like, you are a big educator, and you're a big supporter of everybody, right? Whether it's bands that you're managing, whether it's like even like helping like young, I won't say like teens and children, but like helping them kind of see their own potential, whether it's leading into music, leading into community, right? Like a lot of the things that you're doing, it's amazing. It's fantastic. So as we're wrapping up, I have questions. I have so many more questions that we didn't even get to talk to, but that's okay, because next time you're coming, we'll do like
we want to do a live one. We'll take it on the road. Really
great. So I want to ask you these questions, but we're gonna make it like sort of rapid fire in the sense that just like say whatever comes to your mind first. Okay.
Scared. Let's go.
I'm a little bit scared too, because I think these are like not rapid fire questions, but it's fine. Okay. What conspiracy theory about drummers is out there that you wish were true?
That I wish were true?
Or I guess just like a conspiracy theory that's like is not true?
I was going to say, that we're all dumb. Everybody thinks drummers are dumb. We're not all dumb. Oh, yeah, dude. Everybody hates drummers.
You're like, I wasn't the smartest in school.
Yo, ask any vocalist or any guitar player that you ever meet who their least favorite member of the band is. By instrument, not person, by instrument. They're going to say drummer.
Really?
Or even by person. Ask. I swear. I bet. Watch, when we do this, every drummer's going to, if you clip this, every drummer is going to, and we do the share thing on Instagram, every drummer's going to comment and be like, oh yeah, everybody hates drummers. There's like maybe 5 drummers that I know that like people love them. You know what I'm saying? I mean, everybody loves their drummer, but like the drummer catches the most heat at all times. Yeah, dude.
I am shocked.
What's a one that I wish were true though? What's a conspiracy about drummers that I wish was true? That girls like us. Girls like drummers.
They mostly like guitar players, I will say that.
No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. I don't know any really conspiracies about drummers that aren't true.
Well, you've always been yourself anyway, so you don't really care if you're still Okay, next question. What would little Cody think of you now?
Probably wouldn't even think it's real. I've like wondered if I went and got to talk to him and was like, hey, dude, you got to play the drum fill that every drummer almost ever has dreamed of playing for Shinedown live, and you're one of 3 drummers to ever do it, including the original. I'd probably lose my mind.
Goosebumps.
Dude,
Goosebumps.
I couldn't. Dude, I played Simple Man with Leonard Skinner. What?
I can't.
What?
I can't.
What? Dude. Oh my God. Yeah. He wouldn't believe it, dude. He wouldn't believe it. I got to meet Vince Neil with Motley Crue. Listen, me and Tommy Lee aren't friends yet, but I'm like trying to be his friend. I messaged him.
You're like, I'm not working.
Yeah, trying, dude. I want to be. Me and him would be good friends. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
But I messaged him. I actually messaged him yesterday. I was like, yo, dude. I was like, I'm out in LA if you want to like go grab some food or something, and because we followed each other, and just even him following me was crazy. Like that was really cool for me too. But like. And he like messaged me back. He's like, yo, he's like, my wife's like pretty sick right now. He's like, but let's definitely get up here soon. And I was like, dude, that's so cool, man. Like even just the acknowledgement of like, I think that's mad cool.
He sees you
yeah.
know?
Yeah. And I thought that was really cool. And like, dude, I got to meet like the best drummer of my generation, like the Tom Brady of drummers for my era of drummers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I got to hang out with him on Friday night or Saturday night, and yeah, little Cody wouldn't he wouldn't believe this, dude. Yeah, he wouldn't. There's so many things that he would, if I got to like tell him the things that we've got to do. I mean, even just playing shows, to be honest, or like
getting paid to be in front of like people to play.
I don't even know if I would bring the money into it. If I just told little Cody that he got to play on a stage, I think. If I got to tell you 13-year-old Cody like that we played on a stage, I think he'd lose his mind.
Wow.
Like, and that's like straight up. Because I remember going to a show. I remember like the first show I went to, it was these band, not like concert, first show, like, and local people that I didn't know. I didn't know what local was. I didn't know. I had no idea. Everything to me, like if you played on stage, you were famous. When I was young, I had no idea, and I didn't know about like local scenes or like local metal scenes or anything like that. And I went to the show that was branded as the name 040508. That was like that was the date of the show. And I thought it had a catchy little ring to it, but that's how I always remembered it. But it was this band called Kinsey and this other band called Sabrosa. And, they were, it was just one of their CD release shows. And I didn't know anything about a local scene or anything along those lines. And, I went to their show and there was like 800 to 500 to 800 people there. And to me, I'm like, oh my God, this is huge. And then, in the grand scheme of things, I didn't know that was just a local show. I didn't know that it was like, I didn't know that bigger, I just didn't know. I didn't know anything. And so it was like, man, I want to do that.
Yeah.
And I didn't have a literal concern about money playing drums. I just wanted to play drums and tour and see things and do it. And like I said, 'cause I was willing to work as many jobs or do whatever I had to do in order to tour. Like there was a point where I was touring with my local band and working 4 jobs when I would get home.
Wow.
And yeah, man. So it was like telling little Cody like that he's like playing drums and like getting to tour and do all that stuff. I mean, and then if you told like 18 to 19-year-old Cody, like, hey, dude, you're like able to pay your rent. You know what I'm saying? Like you can pay your rent from playing drums, or like you can buy groceries and stuff. Yeah. Like you can have a cool meal every, like, I don't know. So
I love it.
It's a blessing.
I love it. Do you think music comes from happiness or heartbreak?
I think, well, really could be argued both, because I love me a good beer drinking in the summer song, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But there's also those sad songs that you really need, that come from the heartbreak and the anger and the dark. Every little bit of, there needs to be some of that darkness, because it's hard to listen to some happy music when you're going through a rough time,
Yeah.
But then there's what's up?
You still write?
Oh yeah. And there's still, I think a lot of the stuff that I like to write is from heartbreak, you know what I'm saying? Or like hurt or anger. And I think a lot of like frustrations like come out from that. But also I love writing like songs about partying too, because it's like there's I like the songs about happiness because we need those, especially like when we're like having some good times, because then you get into that like little gray area of like when you're sad. And it's like you hear that happy song, and there's almost kind of like it starts to be a shift.
The relief,
you know?
Ooh,
I think there's a little bit of necessity for both, or that way it comes from both for sure.
Yeah. What's your hair routine?
Hair routine? Yo, I wish I could remember. I wish I could remember right now it looks like crap. I need to get it cut so bad.
Are you kidding?
Oh, serious. I did this myself. Why it looks like this? Well, not the top. I haven't touched the top, but like.
You buzzed it.
Yeah, I buzzed this up myself.
It looks good.
I didn't do too bad.
It looks good.
It's definitely like way longer than what I'm normal to on the sides. Oh, I can't see it. Where's that? There, right here. Yeah. No, dude, but so normally it's looks good, but I've been kind of like doing this backward hat thing right now, and it's like not too bad.
It suits you. It suits you.
So.
But you use conditioner?
Oh yeah, sorry, hair routine. My bad. Yeah, I do the whole thing. I like got purple shampoo, like got leave-in conditioner out. I oil my hair. I wish I knew the brands. I don't remember, but
how often do you do leave-in conditioner?
Probably more than I should, but I do it every day. Every time I take a shower, I was taught to like not wash my hair often, like let it get whatever it needs. Those nutrients. So I love
how nervous you are answering this question.
Dude, so there might be some women might tear me apart. You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't trying to make no one mad. But dude, we so if I'll get my hair colored, I normally do like a white or like a platinum, and then I'll go the salon, I think the salon's called Vagabond. I got this girl, my homie Dana, who does my hair. She works for Ashley McBride. Cool. Great country artist. She's amazing. But Dana's super cool. But she crushed my hair. And then I have my homie Paige in Idaho. Anytime we're in Idaho, I go to her studio. And they'll take care of it. She has a group of girls out there that are amazing that take care of me out there. But so I'll normally go to either one of them, and then I'll do like whatever the purple shampoo. So if one of those days, I'll do like a purple shampoo, and I'll at first I'll like do that in with water, and I'll try to like start off with cold water first. And
wait, you do purple shampoo after they cut your hair?
No. Like a couple days afterwards. Okay. Yeah.
Just making sure.
Yeah. No, not immediately. I'll get my hair colored, and then I'll wait like a week, and then I'll do like purple shampoo, and then so I'll do purple shampoo, and then leave that in for a little bit, and then I'll wash it out, and then I'll get like the silver toning conditioner, and I'll leave that in, do the rest of the shower, and then I'll take that out, and then I'll get out and do the leave-in conditioner, kind of crimp it up and do the whole thing. And then, dead ass. And then, and then I'll brush it out and so on and so forth. And then, on the days that I won't like shampoo my hair for like 2 or 3 days afterwards. Every other day I'll just condition it, and then I'll get out and do. So I'll let water touch my hair every day, and that's why I'll put the leave-in conditioner in afterwards. Yeah. But I'll condition it every other day, and then if I get my hair wet, I normally put the leave-in conditioner in, and then on the days that maybe I don't wash or I don't like shampoo or condition it, I'll put oil in my hair.
Last question: what do you want to be remembered for?
What I want to be remembered for? Honestly, like I guess there would be. I don't know if there's like one specific thing, you know what I'm saying? Like, cause we have so many different interactions with so many people on different aspects, you know what I'm saying? Like, it would be cool for like, I hope that there's some people that remember me for like kindness and like wanting to give back to the community, and like was always willing to help, or give advice, or, be honest about advice, and like, anything involving that like that with music. You
Yeah.
know, I'd love to be, one of my ultimate goals is to be in like the country music like Hall of Fame, or the country music musicians Hall of Fame, or the rock and roll Hall of Fame. Like
Yeah.
one of those would be just an absolute blessing, and like
Yeah.
that's like one of my huge goals. I want to be remembered as like, you know, there hadn't been really anyone in my town that has. There's been a lot of people that have like achieved what their goals. You know what I'm saying? But I think what I'm doing is almost like not a real. It doesn't seem real in a lot of people's eyes, and I hope that if there are any of the musicians in that town, or anybody, any kid that I can inspire from a small town in general,
Yeah.
that would ever think that they couldn't get beyond that, like I hope that they could maybe look at my story and gain some kind of inspiration from it. You know, even if it's just one kid, like I would kill to hopefully all of my business endeavors come to fruition over the years, and I am able to have, you know, the income to where I can give back to like music like programs in schools and stuff, especially in schools that like don't have a lot of music funding. That would be, you know, amazing. I don't know, man. I'd want to be remembered as just, it was a good time to be around him, and he was kind, and that he would, you know, I would just, you know, I would love to be remembered for drums, and I'd love to be remembered for just being kind and like a good time, and
being a good person, right? Like being the person that when you walk
and I mean,
into,
I got flaws too, you know. I'm
we
not,
all do,
you know
right?
But
I think, I mean,
got
at least
troubles.
for me, like you're the kind of person that when you walk into any room, you make the room brighter, you make the room better. Like you're like the person that everyone's like, oh my God, he's here, you know? And there are unfortunately some people, you know, where it's like, oh, you know, and then you kind of want to walk away. So I think you already have that.
I like that. I definitely want to have that aspect of like just people remembering that it was like fun to be like around, and like that. I guess a good person too.
Yeah.
I try to be the best I can. I love you too, man. I'm really happy to be here.
Thank you for coming.
This was awesome. Thank you for having me. This is a blessing.
Well, thank you so much for your time. Yeah. Thank you all for watching and for listening, and we'll catch you next time on Everybody Hates LA.
We have to run it back round 2.
No, actually, like we didn't even get to like 3/4 of the